Alright. We're all set up. Apologies for the wait. We'll begin in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, so we have a little bit of a delay here. Not too bad though. We'll go ahead and keep going. Alright, we'll see what we got here. So it looks like Vander's about 5 seconds ahead in the time. So we'll just have to keep track of that. Make sure, you know, even if Vander's a little bit ahead, doesn't necessarily mean he's actually ahead. Just that he's 5 seconds ahead in real time. Alright, so thanks for joining us. This is going to be our 4th race for the day. No, 4th match. We've had many races today. So it's going to be best of 2 out of 3. I'm Synn, and this is the Summer Annual BleedRunning Tournament. So this is a tournament we're hoping to do every year. This is the 2019 version. All of the graphics you see is going to be made by Jackets. He may not necessarily have made all of the actual art pieces like Rin and all that, but he definitely went through and made all the different things you're going to see on the screen. So huge shout out to Jack for doing that. Something that he went above and beyond for. So we're going to be watching our players here just kind of do a lot of bosses. This game, Bleed 2, is a boss rush game. Basically, there's a little bit of platforming, but mainly we're just killing some bosses. Both the players are pretty close. Looks like Vander might be about 2 seconds behind, roughly. But actually, no, you know what? They're about the same. So we'll see how this goes. We do have timers for both. We need to make sure we're using the timer that we add, not the in-game timer. In-game timer is a lie because it resets after each stage, and we care more about the consecutive time, not just the level time. They'll be encountering the first boss here. So on normal, it's really not that challenging. On hard, which is what we're playing right now, it can be a little bit more challenging. Has a couple more mechanics, just a little bit extra bullets. Something you have to watch out. So like this right here, normally it doesn't angle on normal, but on hard it does angle. So you have to watch out for those bounces. A little bit trickier. Both players doing extremely well, taking very little damage. Looks like they're going to be finishing this up about the same time. Very nice. Both playing with S rank, so they understand what they're doing. So this is going to be one of our very, very close races. Both runners are really close together for a skill level and all that. You'll notice platforming is going to be pretty big. Even though it's a boss rush kind of game, your platforming in between the levels really does make or break how well you do. Alright, you want to get as many deflects as possible. How deflects happen in our game, you want to make sure you're deflecting all of the purples and not trying to tank all of the orange. We cannot deflect orange. Right there, you'll notice Hopsital got a really good deflect on the kitty chopper itself. So anytime you can deflect a boss is fantastic, because that means less damage that they can deal to you, and more damage you can deal to them. Both runners knocking out pretty close together. But do remember, Vander is technically 5 seconds ahead, meaning he's technically 5 seconds behind. If they do something at the exact same time, that means Vander's about 5 seconds behind. If Vander does something from our perspective at the same 5 seconds ahead of Hopsital, it means that they're tied. So a little tricky, but we'll get through it together. Both of them getting a nice deflect, so really good RNG for both players. Vander getting some really bad RNG though for some of those rockets coming out at him. And then Hopsital getting another deflectable rock in the center. So very good for him. Vander does get one as well, so they're not too far behind each other. But you have to remember though, Vander got that a little bit later, so it didn't get the full damage through because it killed the boss. Meaning that if he would have got a little bit earlier, it would have saved him a little bit of time. But unfortunately, it's not something you can control. Alright, we'll see how the players do here. Well, this is Valentine, so she's gonna be our antagonist for the game. Hopsital just hanging out on the road, taking some free damage. Both runners really close. The purple cars. Good deflex from Vander. So it's purple. So here's the thing. The attacks that she's currently doing, if it hits the truck, the whale core that we're currently riding on, then what happens is it actually makes it so we have to do that phase again. Not the entire fight, just that phase. So if she shoots purple cars at us, we'd have to do another task instead. Hopsital having no issue with the purple cars. Ooh, nice. Hopsital just knocking her out, and then Vander not too far behind. We're talking about a 7-second difference right now. Very, very close. Yes, cars are scary. They are terrifying in this game. Absolutely terrifying. I'm glad the top chatter right now in our Twitch chat is one of the runners. That's what we like to see. Contribution from the entire community. Alright, now this is going to be a pretty basic thing, just kind of, you know, deflex, don't take as much, try to take as few little damage as possible. Oh yeah, I'm calling people out. I don't mind. Yes, thank you. Yeah, as I said, I know you're there. I know you're there. Yeah, some yeehaws, I appreciate that. Alright, so you want to try to get as many good deflex here as possible. You really want to make sure you don't miss the purple deflex. The orange ones, obviously, since you can deflect them, not a big deal. But you also have those bullet sponges that are flying around constantly. That's going to make so you don't take as much, the boss doesn't take as much damage because you're dealing it to all these other units, which really just slows you down. So it's really kind of crucial to watch your pathing because you want to path in front of the fewest amount of bullet sponges so you get the optimal amount of damage on the boss. Alright, we got Ninja. So Ninja is probably one of the hardest bosses, especially for new runners. And if you're playing just a casual playthrough, this guy is just the dominator. I remember when I first played Bleed, I started the game on normal. I got probably the first boss on normal, and I was like, this is boring. So I switched it to very hard. Now, if you've ever played Bleed, you know the normal version isn't that challenging. But when you get to very hard, it is a whole different game. Well, I fought Ninja on very hard for the first time, and that was the first time I ever fought him. I never knew that he had a read, so you could tell which way he's going to attack. So it was like the longest, most brutal fight of just trying to just react to what he does, and it was awful. But runners now know how to read his attacks, making him a much easier fight. A little bit of waiting here. One thing you don't want is a stray bullet, especially an orange bullet, just floating off to the right side. Just because then you could just run into it, prevents you from moving. Both runners are extremely close. They're about the same spot. And since that's the case, we're talking about Vander's about 5 seconds behind. 5 seconds is not a lot of time at all. You can easily make or break 5 seconds during this run. So you can just tell how close these runners are together. You want to get as many good deflects as possible. You can see right here, Hopsital going for that deflect does nail it. Vander not getting a whole lot of deflects from what I was watching. I might have missed one or two. I was trying to watch a little bit over on Hopsital side. Vander does beat him at 9:04. His helmet shatters. Let's look over here. See when his shatters. About 9:05. We're talking Vander is now 1 second ahead. So like I was just saying, he was 5 seconds behind, which is definitely extremely close. But because it was 1 second, 5 seconds, you might think, okay, in a speed run, that's huge. But because this game is there's a little bit of RNG and stuff like that based in here, along with the skill, it can easily change. And now he's up by 1 second. So that was a 6 second difference. Both players getting to the boss without any damage. Now, this can really be a big fight. Some people can do really well here, some people can struggle. So you have to make sure you get these pills out of the way without taking too much damage yourself. Vander doing really well with the katana. Hopsital does take a little hit, but it's okay as long as he doesn't take too much damage for this fight. Does get deflect. Vander gets both deflects. Very nice. And Vander knocking out his boss and leaving right there. Fantastic. Hopsital still going. We'll see. He's getting his katana out. Not able to get too much damage in, but he should end right here. And now he's done at 10:04. He's about 6 seconds. So we're talking about probably about 2 seconds behind right now. Now this is our really only auto scroller, like real auto scroller. Taking damage here slows your screen, so you do not want to take any damage, or else it really slows you down. It's a big time loss, and it's so easy just to accidentally get hit by a single stray bullet or something. It's just awful to watch. So I want to get hit. Hopsital being really close here, almost taking a couple of hits. Luckily, getting through perfectly with no damage on him. That's awesome. Vander gonna be reaching the next boss. So this isn't a boss rush, meaning there's gonna be a bunch of bosses back to back to back. So it's gonna be a bunch of bosses from the first game. So it's kind of nice. A little callback from Bleed 1. They're gonna be obviously optimized so that you can do the new fun stuff we have here. But they're all just kind of like robotics now. Vander getting a really good deflect. Unfortunately, Hopsital will get against a orange dive. The orange one means that he cannot deflect it, meaning he gets no damage, doesn't get any free time on him. That kind of sucks. Hopsital now killing, and unfortunately he got another orange, which means he had some really bad RNG on that fight. Next up is our little worm buddies, the Gibby and the Stew. Let's see how the runners do here. Now they have a couple of attacks they can do that are really optimal. So you see Hopsital decided to go above, which would be a little bit less damage, and Vander got the exact thing you want, where you have the purple one shooting just so that you can just stay in his face and just slash, slash, slash. You get the slash and the deflect damage, which is really big damage, really quick in succession. Unfortunately, Hopsital did not get that. Hopsital having some really bad RNG right now, but he can still make up for it. He is a little bit behind. So Vander's about half a boss ahead right now, but like we were talking about a little bit earlier, it can easily flow into the opposition. Vander not opting to go in for that that deflect, and you'll notice during that deflect though he could have done the deflect and still got some damage in. He did miss a lot of his bullets when he was flying around. Hopsital going for the deflect just to get that for sure damage in. This boss is one of the trickier ones just because that shield really stops all damage going through other than from your katana. But risking the katana can be risking some more damage. Now, Vander is on Robo Bunny, Bunbot, as we somehow know it as. So we'll see how they do. Vander getting a really good deflect there against Bunbot. Slowing down time to make sure he can just keep on the damage. We're talking about, well, now there's a pretty big difference right now. Hopsital a little bit behind, but that's okay because he can easily come back because some of the future bosses and the pathing and all that can really make or break. And you'll see right here, oh, it does not get the deflect from what I saw. That's okay because he does knock out Bunbot. I'm going to move on to the next stage. Warship is probably one of the hardest levels to do. So we'll see how he can do here. Bunbot. Alright, Vander getting through elevator, taking 2 hits. Let's see how Hopsital does. Flying through, crazy fast. Dodges. Oh, just take 1 hit. Oh, just take a second hit. But luckily that second hit doesn't slow him down too much. Flies through. He'll be now getting up to his segment slider. Vander only in 1 phase in, so extremely close still. Alright, we went from about 3/4 of the boss down to about half a boss. Unfortunately, Hopsital getting some really bad RNG here. You'll notice that when Center Slider split there, he wasn't even able to damage him, and then he had to wait. That was super unfortunate. This game is rigged. Alright, Vander just knocking out his segment slider, but Hopsital not too far behind. Unfortunately, getting some really bad RNG, like seriously bad RNG. He is down to 1 health, so he has to decide whether or not he wants to take a death here to refresh, to replenish his health, or he wants to try to risk it. It's a pretty challenging decision, just because there's a lot of time loss for it. He's going to take the reset. He knows it'd be way faster, take the reset, and not risk it, because if he goes halfway through the stage, takes 1 hit, he has to restart the stage. Does not want to do that. It's a huge time loss. See, right there, he would have been hit if he had that 1 health. He would have taken that hit there, and that 1 hit would have made him reset and do that entire section over. Vander just getting to part 2 of this boss, and so Hopsital is not too far behind. This boss is pretty easy to kill, and if Hopsital's bad luck seems to go away and just come back with some new luck, he actually might be able to do pretty well. Because the second phase is pretty good on RNG, so if you can get some really good luck and just really knock it out, he'll be able to catch up. Alright, so Vander knocking out phase 2. Hopsital still in phase 2. Oh, it does miss a deflect there, unfortunately. So the deflects are really crucial. If you do not get those deflects, then you do not do any damage to the boss, because you have to have an opening through his shield. And you're a little bit under half health. Has to be a little bit careful. Doesn't want to take too much damage and die. Hopsital knocking out core 2. I can't reflect today. It's okay, Hopsital. We get it. We get it, man. Oh, Vander getting a Pac-Man with a deflect. We'll see if Hopsital's luck stays true. If so, we'll see no Pac-Man, and we'll just see bullets constantly with some make it rains. Vander blowing up anti-battalion here. So Hopsital has to make up a little bit of time here because he missed a couple of those deflects, which are really crucial for the time. You really have to make sure you land those. But it's still not over, because if Vander does make a mistake, or if Hopsital starts getting some decent luck, there's a chance. Like I said, right there, you see a shark into a make it rain. These are not what we want to see. We want to see some Pac-Man and some saws. There's a saw. It's not terrible. It's good. Unfortunately, get some bullet sponges there into another shark. Shark's not terrible, but definitely not what we're looking for. There's a Pac-Man. Now we want him to turn purple to get that deflect damage. Oh my gosh. Not only was that just not a great positioning for him, it was also an orange Pac-Man, meaning he gets no deflect damage. Another saw, this should be the kill. Knocks it out. Vander starting up his Valentine fight now. Making some mistakes on Valentine can really cost you some time. If you accidentally die a little bit too early on our death skip, you have to redo that entire section, which is very, very very big time waste. And then you also have you have to do a lock on her as well. And if you miss the lock, you have to do an entire section again. 2 Pac-Man in a row is not possible. That's correct. The boss there will never use the same transformation twice in a row. Alright, we'll see how they do here. Hopsital just starting up phase 1. Vander just knocking out phase 2. Like I said, though, this is one of the matches that you can easily make a mistake. If you make that mistake, you could lose a huge amount of time. Good deflect there from Vander, getting some good RNG. It's something the Hopsital has not seen. You'll also be able to see, you'll notice there's no reticle on Hopsital's screen. That is because he is not using a mouse. He is using a controller, which is a little bit different. I think he's one of the few players that actually uses a controller rather than a mouse. So you can kind of see the little bit differences. Vander going for the death skip here. He does get it, so he should be okay. So now he'll be starting his final phase. And Hopsital is just knocking Valentine out, going to her second to last phase. Alright, let's see if Vander gets the skip, the lock. Ooh, it's pretty close. Does get it. Perfect. So he'll get the stun. Almost missed that last stun, but does barely get it. Single can bouncing off her head. Hopsital getting a good deflect there. RNG is starting to look a little bit in his favor. And he has some damage on him, which allows him to do the death skip, which is pretty nice. The death skip saves about 5 to 10 seconds, and you really need to have that time. He is really low, though, so now he has to be very careful. Taking any damage will actually not only make it so he doesn't get the death skip, but he'll actually die and have to redo this entire section, which is something you do not want to have to do. Okay, so he has the amount of health he needs. He can get the death skip, be good to go. Vander going to be going to the final stage right now. Hopsital waiting for the correct time, and he is able to get the death skip. That's awesome. Vander fighting Mana's Core. Let's see if Hopsital can land his skips, his lock here. Good. He does get the one lock, and he has to get his last one. And he does miss it. It looked like he did make it in time, but the crowd did not throw the stuff very fast. That was kind of weird. Maybe I was saying that wrong, but it looked like it looked like he had the timing right. So. And Valentine is out. Moving on to the final stage. Alright, Vander going in. Let's see how he does here. So the last stage we have quite a few bosses. We have 5 bosses back to back to back. A little bit of platforming in it, but not too much. So the race isn't over just yet, just because, especially on the rival, if you take too much damage and you die, or even on Slider Core, you could easily die and have to redo it. The final boss, though, Rival, he does have 2 health bars, making it really challenging. Vander doing his best to get as much damage as he can now. Good deflex. Vander getting a lot of really good RNG this run. Really flying through. Hopsital now fighting Whale Core. Vander going to be moving into his Crawling Core stage. Crawling Core is definitely one of those bosses when you first start. It's just very challenging, but when you get it down, it's not too bad. But it's one of those things that just the platform you have to fight on alongside the boss itself, it's just really difficult. For a runner who's been doing this a while, it's not as terrifying, but it is one of those things that it can be very, very challenging, especially as a casual player. Vander moving on to his rival, while Hopsital going to be starting up his third to last boss. It does get a good deflect there. We'll see how Vander does. If Vander can knock this boss out with any issues, he should be able to take home his first Sunday. Good deflect there from Vander. Vander getting really lucky with his RNG in this run. Does not get the deflect there, unfortunately. Ooh, very nice ping pong. And another deflect from Vander, and he does knock out the rival. Alright, looks like our time has ended there. So my time did not stop, I apologize for that. And Hopsital not too far behind. Alright, we'll be taking a quick 2 to 3 minute break, and then we'll be right back. Alright, we're going to start the next one here in just a second. I'm going to swap my music back over into our bleed sounds. Alright, we should be set. I'm going to go ahead and do the countdown for both players. Let me make sure I turn off my loading screen here, because that would be terrible to start with. With the analog stick. Respectable man. Alright. So I found out why it randomly gives. So my hotkeys are for the number keys, which changes everything, so I'll have to do this different. Okay. We'll begin. Mouse over hard. Ready in 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, so the last one, we did see Vander take the win. Now, it was a pretty big difference, about 45 seconds, but honestly, that came from a big chunk of RNG, and it came from a big chunk of a Hopsital, just a couple of deflects here and there. So, I mean, it is still a race, so we could easily see it turn a little bit in Hopsital's court. So we'll see if that happens. We're not entirely sure. RNG is pretty big in the runs, which is a little bit unfortunate. But it's not just down to RNG. Vander did extremely well, getting a lot of good deflects, and he got some really good RNG as well. But, I mean, the skill level that he shows here, you can definitely tell he's been practicing. He kind of understands what he's doing. Hopsital, just getting a couple deflects that he missed, and those deflects adds up to about about 20, 30 seconds. But a lot of the RNG that Vander got, we're talking about getting, purple Pac-Mans. We're talking about getting a lot of the good deflects, like right here. He's got a purple deflect already into another purple deflect. Like, that's just really insane time, like really insane time saves right there. And then right there, we see Hopsital getting an orange bullet, which is non-deflectable, meaning he gets no time save from that. You'll see Vander already knocking it out, but we see Hopsital still trying to kind of get through it, just because he's not getting those really good deflects. He doesn't get a deflect at the end, but since the boss was so low, he doesn't really receive the full benefit of the damage, solely because it doesn't have that much health. If it had more health and he was able to do that, give him a little bit more damage. Alright, we'll see how they do here. Not too much crazy RNG here. We want this boss to dive at us while turning purple, just like that for Vander. Exactly what we're looking for. It's really good RNG for Vander again. We'll see if it holds up throughout the entire run. Hopsital getting an orange dash. Very unfortunate. Just really not getting some RNG at all of this run. And another orange dash. Wow, that is unfortunate. Do remember though, Vander is 5 seconds ahead. Your RNG is absolutely terrible, Hopsital. I apologize. So Vander kind of struggling a little bit there on his pathing. If Hopsital can do pretty good on his pathing here, he can make up a lot of time. Really strong pathing there from Hopsital. Really big time save. So Vander's 5 seconds ahead. So we'll watch. Ooh, Vander doesn't get he gets an orange dash instead of a purple, meaning he gets no deflect there. We'll see what. Oh, Hopsital does get the purple deflect, so that's really good. Into another purple deflect. Now we're talking. Now we're talking about getting some RNG on both sides here, not just all through Vander. Into another purple deflect, which you will not be taking because the boss is just so low already. So we'll be watching the time here of Vander's clock to see when he lands on here. Okay, so he gets at 3:45. We'll see when Hopsital lands to really see how far apart these races are. 3:47. We're talking 2 to 3 seconds apart right now that these races are at. So that's really good. Vander does get a purple rocket deflect for the first thing, which is really strong. Hopsital gets a laser, which is not deflectable, but he does get a purple rocket, which is awesome. Alright, both racers are now on Valentine. Extremely close. Hopsital's about 2 seconds ahead right now. So they don't want to lose any time here, so they have to make sure that they do not miss any of these procs. Alright, both racers can move on to the next stage here. Flies off 57, flies off 54. So we have Hopsital in the lead by about 3 seconds right now. Alright, so Hopsital taking that death pretty big, but there is a chance that he can still come back, so we'll see how that turns out. Vander just hugging the right side there, really just trying to get through this spot so he can just get through. Hopsital does have to make us some time. We'll see how he does with it. I'm not entirely sure how much he can save RNG wise for this boss. There's only a couple of deflects he can really get, but there always is a chance Vander does make a mistake that he could take a pretty big chunk of damage, and then there's a chance that he could die. But we'll see. Vander normally plays it pretty safe, especially when he gets kind of low. Hopsital doing really well here, not taking any damage. It's one of the spots where you just do not want to take damage. A lot of other areas, if you take damage, it's like half a second time loss. Where there, it's quite a few seconds, so you don't want to get hit at all during that slow moving auto scroller. Vander now on Gibby and Stu, while Hopsital not too far behind. He's gonna be starting up his Guppy fight. Vander now knocking out Gibby and Stu, moving on to Robo White. So it looks like he's going to be doing a little bit around the world here, not opting for some deflects, get a little bit extra bullets, shots in there. Doing his best to go move around it. That's one of the things you have to try to decide. Do you want to go for that deflect? The deflect damage is nice, but that adds a lot of extra bullet sponges like the rockets, which are really difficult to dodge. Vander does opt to switch to his katana to get the extra damage through the shield. Hopsital going to be fighting his Gibby and Stu. We'll see if he goes for any big deflects here. Nope, he's going to stay above him. Doesn't want to go for any deflects, just trying to get as much damage as he can, but doesn't want to risk it too much to the point where he could die, because that would make a pretty big time loss. He already has one death in the run, so he's really trying to conserve his health. Unfortunately, when you kill the boss for Gibby and Stu, it doesn't necessarily make it so that they just stop their attacks. Their attacks still go through, which is kind of silly. So you have to wait until that full phase ends. So he did take a little bit extra damage there. He's now on Robo White. Did take another hit. So he's pretty low. He has to be very careful or else he'll have to redo the bunny fight. Vander now on Warship. Does take an early hit though on Warship. Warship can be one of those stages that is really challenging as if you take a lot of damage early, because then you don't have a lot of wiggle room for the latter part of the level. Hopsital does knock out Robo White, only has one hit remaining, so he's going to be really careful here. He has to decide if he wants to take a quick death on Robo Bunny or if he's going to go through it. From the looks of it, he's just going to fight through it. He's going to fight through the pain. Does slow down time there, so he has to be really careful. He has exactly 1 health. Any damage here, and it's over. Stays underneath Bunny during that too. Very risky, but just trying to get as much as he can in. Does slow down time. Something he should absolutely be doing to make sure he doesn't die. Does not Robo Bunny. Does not take a death there. Segment Slider almost dead over here for Vander. Alright. We'll see how Hopsital does here. Hopefully he gets decent RNG. Maybe a little bit of that time. Vander getting some really good deflects there. Ooh, staying right next to it and trying to get that damage. Trying to get some of those pods to be right next to the boss. That way he doesn't have to do anything, just get some free damage on the boss. Just a little bit of damage from doing so, but not enough to make it so it's too scary. Hopsital getting some decent splits there. Ooh, does get a retract. Retract damage, not fun. Alright, he should knock out the boss here. He might have to take a death relatively soon, just so he doesn't have to worry about risking it again. Better get some good deflects against his part 2 of the boss. Hopsital down to a single health. Going through this part, very challenging, very tricky, risky, but he does get through. He will probably have to take a quick death here. And he does not. He's just going to risk it. He figures, you know what? If he's already down the time, just keep going. Risk it. Make some time. Vander moving on. Going to be going to his anti-battalion fight. This part right here can be pretty tricky as well. We'll see how he does and see what kind of transformations he get against the anti-battalion. Ooh, does drop down to 1 health. If he does die here, he'll have to redo this entire spot, which is really far. You'll notice Hopsital did take a quick death there. That way you didn't have to worry about it. This boss can be really challenging. Vander does get to anti-battalion with 1 health. Unfortunately, not a lot of RNG over there on Hopsital's side, while Vander over here getting a Pac-Man. Ooh, but an orange Pac-Man, not a purple Pac-Man, so not the best RNG. Bullets, let's see how he does. Can't miss a deflect or he'll die. Have to redo this entire fight. Does get a saw. Pretty safe fight there. I'll make it rain, nothing too crazy. Not a lot of DPS, but you know, overall, he did extremely well in that fight, so he didn't have a whole lot. Hopsital didn't even fire, but completely jumped through between the 2 of those blobs. Didn't take any damage. That was really strong. Vander achieves that full clench. It's always nice to see the runners coming in here for a quick chat. Hopsital going to move on to his anti-battalion. Vander is going to move on to his Valentine fight next. Hopsital, though, does get a Pac-Man spawn, and it's a purple. Fantastic. Good hit. Deflect there. Does take a little bit of damage, but since a lot of those are iframes for the boss, it doesn't really matter that he takes the damage there or not. As long as he doesn't die, which is very unlikely. Bullet section, not terrible. Does get a shark. Hoping to get another Pac-Man or Assault. Very nice. Pac-Man, gonna get the kill. Get that done. Vander, gonna be knocking out phase 1 of Valentine. Fortunately, Hopsital has to wait for this cut, you know, the scene. Has to wait for his character to run off into the sunset. After that, he's able to start fighting his rival and his Valentine. Rival's not till later. Vander just looking for some decent RNG to keep that lead. Hasn't taken any damage, doesn't have to worry about it. Though he could make some mistakes on his Valentine lock. Ooh, Vander does not get a deflect though. Hopsital just rambling those bullets right there. Not caring, just trying to get through it. Vander getting a little bit low. Does get the damage though, so he should be set up for his death skip, down to 1 health. Does die and does get the death skip, so he's good to go. Hopsital moving on to the 3rd Valentine phase. Vander does get his first lock on Valentine. Does he get the second one? I think he might have missed that. Just gets it though. And he is set. So he'll be moving on to the rival, which is the final stage. Hopsital not too far behind. Unfortunately, he gets an orange knockback. So there's no deflect for him to be found. He's getting low, but that's okay. You want to be kind of low towards the end of this, so you get that death skip. But you don't want to be too low to the point where you could die. So he's at 1 health now, so if he takes one more hit, he is dead and has to redo this entire section anyway. Which is just about the same as missing your death skip. Let's get a deflect there. And gets it. All he has to do now is just do his death skip, move on, and get the Valentine lock. He should be set. Vander is starting up his Mantis core. And immediately gets a purple deflect. Good kill from Vander. He was about to get a purple and orange deflect, but unfortunately, since we can't deflect that, it would just be a little bit of lost time. But he did manage to get the kill right before he dove down. Hopsital getting the KO. Moving on to the final stage now. Vander has 1 hit on him. He did not miss the unlock. That is very good. That's what we like to see. As long as Vander doesn't take any damage here, he should be set. Taking damage here means that he could possibly die at a later stage and have to redo a fight, but he's keeping his health pretty high. Let's see what kind of RNG Hopsital has for his Mantis. It does get the deflect, even better. But Vander getting some seriously good RNG here. Vander moving on to his crawling core, while Hopsital about to start his whale fight. I still think you should name Spider Core Falling Core, but that's just me. Alright, what kind of RNG does Vander get? That was a good up, having him shoot his lasers upwards. Vander just able to get some free damage, and he gets a purple knockback. That's just brutal. Vander not gonna be starting his rival fight. Alright, this is the last boss for Vander. He's just gotta knock this out, not take too much damage and die. He's only taking 1 hit, so it's gonna take a lot of hits from the rival here to make him have to reset it. Vander's going for the ping pong. Does get katana though. That will slow him down just a bit. But you can't expect to go into rival without having a single katana fight. Another great ping pong fight against the rival, and then followed by another katana. Still hasn't been hit. Unfortunately, does use all of his time though, so he can't slow down time anymore. Hopsital beginning his crawling core fight next. Vander about half health right now, and does knock out the rival. $25-11 for Vander. Hopsital not too far behind. He just has to knock out the crawling core here, and then his rival, and he should be set. And he still has a good amount of health too, so he should be fine against the rival. Okay, let's see how he does here. Does get the knockback, really nice there. I'll have you watch him fight the rival real quick while I set something up. So both runners are done. I'm going to go ahead and set something up really quick for us to take a look at. Okay, we'll be switching over really quick. Okay, so we'll take a quick look here. We'll see the brackets. So Eviona with the first win against myself. I know it was very close though, so very lucky he got that win. Vander against Hopsital, so we did see that. That Vander did get that win against Hopsital. So the next match will be Vander against Eviona. So we'll see how that works. Vander already thrown in the white flag there, I see. Then we had Newbie versus Tournament. Newbie taking the win there, and then we had the last match, which was Fire Splitter versus Ultifen. Ultifen taking the win, so it'll be Newbie versus Ultifen. And then, so the next week we will have our Eviona versus Vander match, our Newbie versus Ultifen match, and then we will also be doing Redemption Bracket Round 1, which is myself versus Hopsital, and Tournament against Fire Splitter. Now, it is a double elimination. So what's going to happen is between the Redemption Bracket Round 1, the loser from those will actually be dropped. So our streams will be a little bit shorter as well. The next one we have will be the last 4 matches in one. So it'll be Primary Bracket Round 2 and Redemption Bracket Round 1 all together. And then they'll be followed up by the Primary Bracket Semifinals. I bring my mouse in here. So we'll have the Primary Bracket Semifinals and the Redemption Bracket 2 being played at one time. So that'll be 3 races, 3 matches in one day. And then we'll be doing Redemption Bracket 3 and Redemption Bracket 4 in one day. And then the final week, which will be week 5, will be the finals itself. So, just to give a quick recap, we did the primary bracket round 1 today. Next week will be primary bracket round 2 and redemption bracket round 1 in 1 day. Sorry, in 1 week. And then it'll be semifinals for the primary bracket and redemption bracket round 2 the week after. And then the following week will be redemption bracket round 3 and redemption bracket round 4, followed by our finals the following week. I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.